Welcome back to the pod. Today, we are talking about a process many of us business folk have heard of, but also, if we're being honest, the majority of us don't know exactly what it means, how to execute on it, and after we're done, what to do with the data to help us propel us forward in our business. I'm hoping to shine some light and give you confidence in this area today. So let's talk SWOTs. This came up because I was having a team meeting this week and we were taking a look at our most listened to episodes on the pod. And our number one most listened to episode is on strategic planning. And so SWOT analysis goes hand in hand with that. So we're hoping we're giving you more of what you're seeking. A SWOT analysis, and I'm saying SWOT, that's SWOT. A SWOT analysis is a strategic planning tool that helps businesses identify their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I'm going to give you a quick, down and dirty, step-by-step guide on how to conduct a SWOT analysis for your business. But first, here are several key reasons why your company should conduct a SWOT analysis. The first is because of strategic planning. You're going to want to identify core competencies and address weaknesses. We need to understand the unique strengths that differentiate your business from competitors and leverage those strengths for strategic advantages. We also need to recognize our areas that need improvement, helping to allocate resources more effectively and develop strategies to mitigate the weaknesses. Next, it's for decision-making purposes. We need to make informed decisions and we need some risk management. And I'm not just saying that because my background is in insurance. We need to provide a comprehensive overview of internal and external factors, aiding in making well-informed strategic decisions. And we need to anticipate potential threats and develop plans to mitigate risks, ensuring the business is better prepared for challenges. They're going to come. We know it. Let's prep for them. The third reason we need to conduct a SWOT analysis is to do opportunity identification. We want to know our market trends and our new market opportunities. So identifying and capitalizing on emerging market trends and opportunities, this allows the business to stay ahead of your competition. We also, through this process, can discover potential new markets or new customer segments that the business can then target. Fourth reason is to identify our competitive advantage. A lot of organizations call this our uniques. If you're into the entrepreneurial operating system, the EOS system, which you can find in the book Traction by Gino Wickham, I'll link that in the show notes. This calls it your three uniques, but regardless, our competitive advantage, what your key differentiators are. There's a lot of things it gets called. That's what we're looking for. We want a competitive analysis and we want to know our strategic positioning. We're going to compare strengths and weaknesses against competitors, enabling the business to identify competitive advantages and areas for improvement. And then we also want to position the business more effectively in the market by understanding its strengths and exploiting its opportunities. Fifth reason is for resource allocation. We want to make sure we're having an efficient use of our resources and we've got proper prioritization. We're going to allocate resources more efficiently by focusing on areas with the highest potential for growth or improvement, and then prioritizing initiatives and projects based on their potential impact and ensuring alignment with the company's strengths and opportunities. So speaking of alignment, another purpose why we want to do the SWOT analysis is for alignment and communication. By doing this, we're going to get better team alignment and improved communication. So we will foster a shared understanding amongst our team members and stakeholders about the company's strategic direction and priorities. It's going to increase trust. And then we can also enhance our communication within the organization by clearly outlining our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And then lastly, this is such a great exercise for continuous improvement. It's going to provide performance monitoring and also give us adaptability. So regularly conducting SWOT analysis to monitor progress helps us adjust our strategies as needed and promotes this continuous improvement. It also helps us to stay adaptable to changes in the internal and external environment, ensuring the business remains resilient and competitive. One more, it's for goal setting. So we want clear objectives and we need strategic goals. So we'll be able to set clear, achievable goals based on this realistic assessment of the company's current situation and the future prospects. And then we'll also be able to develop strategic goals that align with the company's strengths and opportunities, while of course we're addressing our weaknesses and threats. By conducting the SWOT analysis, a company like yours can gain a comprehensive understanding of its internal and external environment, enabling it to make strategic decisions that drive growth, mitigate risks, and achieve long-term success. Who doesn't want it? I've got an organization that I was a fractional CHRO for a period of time, and they hired an HR pro. I got her up and running. And so I was able to step away from the business. But one of the things we said was, hey, next fall, why don't I come back and conduct a SWOT analysis to see how things are operating on the entire business? And they were like, yes, absolutely, because they understand the value. So we want to do this. I know you want to do it, but you're like, how do I do it? Do I have to hire an external contractor to do it? No, you don't. You can DIY. So let's have a quick outline of how to conduct a SWOT. And I would say, of course, my business, Salt and Light Advisors, can provide this for you. But if you allocate some time as a leader or have a facilitator in your organization, you can do this yourself. First thing you're going to do is prepare. You're going to gather your team and set clear objectives. You want to include key stakeholders from various departments to get diverse perspectives. If you've got a board, maybe you even want to pull your board in for this. You also want to define the purpose of the SWOT analysis. Is this for a specific project, for the entire business, or just for a particular department? I recommend doing it on the entire business. That's a pretty big undertaking though, so you can break it down on literally just a project or a department as well. Once you have your team gathered and your purpose is clear, now we're ready to dive in. We're going to actually run through the SWOT. The first step is identifying your strengths, which is the S in SWOT. Strengths are internal factors. We're going to talk about internal and external. Strengths are internal factors that give your business an advantage over competitors. So here are some questions to consider when capturing your strengths. Obviously, what do you do well? What unique resources do you have? What do customers praise about your business? This is a great time to go back through and look at old testimonials or customer surveys if you've got them and read the data. Pause real quick. If you don't do either of those, if you don't gather testimonials or reviews or do a customer engagement survey, come on, let's talk about that next. Okay, also, what are your core competencies? If you're an EOS shop, again, what are your 3 uniques? Here are some examples of potential strengths. I know I'm talking to folks in industries of all kinds, so I just kind of threw some out there. A potential strength could be a strong brand reputation. One could be a loyal customer base. Maybe you've got really high retention rates currently. Another could be a high quality product or service. Another could be a specifically skilled workforce. So these are your internal strengths. Next, we're going to identify weaknesses. So that's the W in SWOT, if you're tracking with me here. Weaknesses are, again, internal factors. So the first 2 steps are going to be internal. Second 2 steps are going to be external. So weaknesses are internal factors that put your business at a potential disadvantage. So the questions that you want to consider while stepping through this: what could we improve as a business? What do our competitors do better than us? What resources are we potentially lacking? And what feedback do we get from customers about areas of improvement? So a few examples of potential weaknesses you may have could be limited financial resources, could be a lack of brand awareness, it could be inefficient processes, it could be high employee turnover. Next step, we're going to identify the O, which is opportunities. We're flipping the script over to external. Opportunities are external factors that your business could exploit to its advantage. When I was a examiner for the Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award and the Missouri Quality Award, we called things OFIs. So we had our strengths and then we had our OFIs. And OFIs was a nice way to say like something that you weren't doing great, but it's an opportunity for improvement is an OFI. That's essentially what we're doing here. What is an external factor that we could exploit to our advantage? So questions to consider. What market trends could benefit our business right now? What are the gaps that exist in the market? Are there upcoming events or changes in regulations that could benefit us? What new technologies could we be leveraging or could we leverage in the future? So examples of these opportunities could be emerging markets. And I'd recommend you get more specific than this. I'm being generalized, but emerging markets, new customer or new client segments, technological advancements, or changes in consumer behavior. For me, when I started my consulting firm, I would back up and say, I have worked with a lot of consultants in the past, and I, a lot of times, would be offended by that. I'm a bright businesswoman. When I'm inside of an organization, I would be like, oh my gosh, why would we hire an external person to come in here and tell us what we already know? Well, that's the whole point. You might already know, but for some reason you're not acting on that. So hiring an external consultant is great, but also it helps you to recognize exactly what it is that you need to accomplish. A lot of times how to accomplish it. If it's a really good consultant, they'll give you a strategy and a path forward. So a lot of opportunities there. Okay, the last step in SWOT is identifying threats. Again, external. Threats are external factors that could cause trouble for your business. So questions to consider in this area. What obstacles do we face in our business? For example, maybe hiring is really hard, whatever, the job market right now is tough. Another is, what are our competitors doing that could cause trouble for our business? Are there any changes in the industry or in our market that could be negatively impacting us, or could it negatively impact us on the horizon? And lastly, are there any, I say lastly, there's a million different questions you could ask yourself here, but my recommendation, are there any economic or political factors that could pose a risk to our business? So examples of these that might be the answers to your threats could be increased competition coming on, economic downturns, changing regulations, and then negative media coverage. So the next step, we've conducted our SWOT, we've asked ourselves the questions, we've got the answers. The next thing we're going to do is analyze and prioritize. So I recommend a matrix layout here. There's a lot of different ways you could do it, but you could create a 2x2 matrix with strengths and weaknesses, like your internal stuff on one side, and then your opportunities and threats, your external stuff on the other side. So you want to look at your internal factors, your strengths and weaknesses, and focus on your organization first. I'd analyze that. And then I'd look at those external factors, those opportunities and threats, and focus on the environment outside of your organization next. So taking a look at those, maybe bringing in some additional staff members to walk through what the findings were and get their feedback on ways to address. Then I would prioritize. So ranking the items in each category by their potential impact on your business. I do a 1 to 10 scale rating. A 1 means low impact, 10 means high impact. And so if it's a strength that could have a very high potential impact, positive impact on our business, we want to say this one's an 8, 9, 10, whatever it is. So that way, when we get through the end of the prioritization process, we can obviously go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is the order in which we're going to tackle these, because we want to hit the high priority items first. Next, we're going to develop some strategies. So we're going to utilize our strengths, using our strengths to capitalize on opportunities and to defend against the threats. The next thing, we're going to address our weaknesses. So we're going to develop plans. I would recommend putting an action plan in place to improve or mitigate our weaknesses. Next, we're going to exploit our opportunities, creating strategies to take advantage of these opportunities, when and how and with whom on our staff. And then next, and lastly, we want to mitigate our threats. So develop a contingency plan to minimize the impacts of threats. And speaking of contingency plan, maybe you need an integrated contingency plan when it comes to, let's say, natural disasters, tech outages, an employee walkout, unionization, whatever it is. You need to have a plan in place to prepare you for that. A lot of companies, and I'm going to say nearly all of them, create those plans while they're running down the road, because it's already happened and now they're having to address it. It's great to put a plan in place proactively. Then we're going to implement and review. So I talked a little bit about action plans. That's exactly what we're doing. We're creating detailed action plans with specific, measurable goals and timelines on how we're going to address this, who is going to be addressing it, how it's going to be addressed, when it's going to be addressed. And then we're going to do likely quarterly checkups or monthly check-ins with a team that's going to be leading this project. So implementing and reviewing, we're creating the action plans. Then when we're monitoring progress. So regularly review and update your SWOT analysis to reflect changes in your business environment. You can do this quarterly at a team retreat, but at a minimum, you want to do this annually. And honestly, a lot of people reach out to me and say like they struggle with team building ideas. And I know this sounds like so boring, but if your leadership team struggles to get together, use it as productive time. Like, sure, happy hours are great. For those who drink and things like that, the world is changing. So you need to be aware of the changes there. But this is a great excuse to get your team together. Maybe you order in some breakfast, you go through this exercise, you order in some lunch, you spend some time together and go through your SWOT as part of your strategic planning retreat. It's a great exercise and it's good for your business, you guys. It's something you need to do. And then the last thing in this implement and review step is going to be adjusting your strategies. So be flexible and adjust strategies as needed based on your ongoing analysis, which means we are being consistent with analysis. By following these steps, you can conduct a thorough SWOT analysis that helps you make informed decisions and develop effective strategies for your business. Now, if you like the sound of this but would prefer an external facilitator to come in and conduct the process for you, my team at Salt and Light Advisors are pros in this area. I'd recommend, like I mentioned, you have the team gather at 10 in the morning, have lunch ordered in at 11:30. We'll break by 2. It's a great strategic process to execute on, but also a great reason to get together for some growth and team building. You don't need another happy hour. You need some clarity and direction in your business. We'll put this outline that I've walked through, like the reasons to do it and how to do it, in a blog post, as well as on the Salt and Light Advisors. I'll put a link on a blog post for Salt and Light Advisors. I'll put a link to that in the show notes. If you want to DIY this, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I just want you to do it. This is a process that I started doing. I learned about this in 2008. And when I first learned about it, it felt like, I don't know, maybe it felt like bureaucracy a little bit, like a more formal process than what I was used to. But honestly, it helped guide and direct so much in my business. And really, to me, it was just core for conversation. It opened up a lot of conversation, maybe about weak performing departments or where we needed to be focusing our time. Finding the time to work on your business versus working in your business can feel like chaos, but the work is worth it. And without it, you're going to continue wandering aimlessly through the coming months, which is a disservice to you and to your customer base. So don't hide from it. Thrive in it. Till next time.